guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and you know they are really groovy. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal talking about movies. Two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and we know they are really groovy.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are in the world. And we want to greet our replay squad, wherever in time you are watching this. Welcome to another live edition of Two Guys and a Gal talking about movies. Tonight, we are going to be talking about the iconic filmmaker Wes Anderson, the Houston native. He's from Houston, Texas, and he really is noted for eccentricity. He has visual components of his films that make them very beautiful to watch. He uses a lot of pastels. He uses a lot of symmetry. He's one of these guys that's a true blue filmmaker, an artist, and he's studied in film programs all over the world because of this. He has characters that are kind of wacky, to the left of center, to the right of center. They're kind of extreme, and they are unlike anything else you've ever seen. He creates entirely new universes and worlds in his films. When you're watching one of his films, you feel like you're in half fantasy, half other realm, and it really is a beautiful experience. So, in order to dissect and discuss and rank their favorite Wes Anderson films, let's bring up our two guys. We have Manny Zamora and Rory, the man of 1,000,000,001 voices, Penland. You're up to 1,000,000,001 now.
A billion?
Yeah, and one. Don't forget the one. The one is Wes Anderson.
Is there even a billion famous? I mean, that people would recognize.
Well, because you do the monsters, you do big monsters, you do, Gamera.
He can
I've heard you
impersonate
do
everybody
Gamera.
in Japan.
That's right.
There you go.
All right, so we're here to talk about Wes Anderson. I love Wes Anderson. He makes me feel so lighthearted. He makes me feel weird. I just think he's fantastic, and he's somebody that just is visually captivating. And people get to study his films. What I love about his films too is that there's nothing accidental, and he's a very intentional filmmaker. Wouldn't you say, Manny? Everything, every little
Yes.
iota, every little detail is there to be appreciated and loved and adored, right down to the minutia of what's on the carpet or what colors he uses. And he paints with a very beautiful palette. So that's one of the reasons why I really respect Wes. What is it about Wes Anderson that appeals to you?
Well, first of all, yeah, he's like you said, he's a Texas native. He's from Houston, so that puts him up there right away.
Yep.
But yeah, he's a very painterly director. I mean, you look at his movies, especially a lot of his later movies, and they're like little paintings. I mean, you can take a still, because that's how he organizes his shots. They're organized as almost like a little painting. And I love his use of color. Definitely has a thing for yellow and teal. Those seem to be the dominant colors, especially, like I said, in a lot of his later movies. And he has what I think is a very kind of almost European sensibility about the movies, especially a lot of the new wave auteurs from the 60s and 70s that basically said, why are we pretending that movies are like real life? That they're movies, they're artifice, they're artificial. Just like the expressionists and later the abstractist painters were like, we're just putting paint on canvas. That's it. That's all it is. That's all a painting is. How you look at it, how you approach it, how you interpret it, that's up to you. Okay, I need to stop. That's very distracting. And so Wes kind of has picked up on that same kind of aesthetic, where he's basically like, these are movies, these are pretend stories. But the thing about it is that he is also very much a storyteller. He obviously loves the idea of telling stories, and
That's my
especially,
take on Wes Anderson. He's a storyteller, and watching
yeah,
his movies is like watching a pop-up book.
very, yes, exactly.
Yeah. So,
And I like the way he nests stories as well. There's usually a lot of movies where it's a story within a story within a story, and you really have to pay attention to figure out, okay, what level am I at here? Whose story is this? Um, so yeah, it's very, and I think that's what sometimes his movies can be very, very arch and very kind of like, okay, what's going on here? You know, they can be a little hard to follow.
there's
But
a
you,
lot of dark comedy.
yeah, very dark.
And
Yeah,
he's very weird, like Tim Burton and Terry
yeah,
Gilliam.
yeah, yeah.
I imagine those three would get along together and party well together.
I think so. Yeah.
Um, oh, by the way, I was caught in the rain coming home, so that's why we're late. Um, and I didn't have time to pop popcorn, so I'm eating pumpkin seeds, salted
Ah,
pumpkin seeds. Good for your
okay.
prostate.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
very Wes Anderson style
Yeah. And
comedy.
it's and you're wearing the Anderson colors, a yellow bag and a blue shirt. So there you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah, I mean you can definitely see the progression of his style
One
from
of the things I really like about
Rushmore
his
to
films,
today. Yeah. Go ahead.
and this is like Clint Eastwood, he has a cast of
Hmm.
people that he uses again and again and again. Bill Murray's just about everything he's done.
Yes.
Um, until recently, Jason Schwartzman was in just about everything that he had done.
Right. Yeah.
Added to that later was Tilda Swinton,
Hmm.
who's so funny because she's it's like a clean slate. She's given a new character and she completely changes and becomes that character. She's like Peter Sellers,
Yeah.
but a female. Um,
Yeah.
the character in Grand Budapest that she plays just never. I mean, just looking at her, I just die laughing. She's so funny.
Yeah.
It's
I
so not her, but again, she's so into that character.
yeah.
But we'll talk about that when we get to that movie.
Yeah.
And then there are other people that just come and go. Goldblum again was added to that later on.
Goldblum. Yeah.
Um,
Edward Norton.
Ed Norton is another one that's appearing in the newer films.
Yeah.
He just did one with Benedict Cumberbatch, and I imagine, and Bryan Cranston just got added. I
Yes.
imagine those two will stay in his films on into perpetuity.
Yeah.
But then again, you have Angelica Houston never did another one. She only did one.
No, actually,
George
she's
Clooney,
done more. She's done
has
several.
she? George
Yeah, she's
Clooney only
done.
did one, right?
No, Clooney only did one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to mention that he was roommates in college at UT, that's University of Texas, with Owen Wilson, which is why Owen
Okay.
Wilson and Patrick Wilson, is it Pat? No, what's his
Luke.
brother's name? Luke.
Luke Wilson.
Sorry, Patrick Wilson, somebody else.
Luke was in the first
Luke
one.
Wilson.
Yeah.
And they
I
show up.
thought Luke was the key to getting Owen into the films later because he came in later. And now Owen Wilson's in most of them, the later ones, and Luke
Yeah.
is gone. He was in the first
Yeah.
couple, and then he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah. But yeah,
Did
but
I
that's why the
mention Willem
Wilson
Dafoe?
brothers
Willem Dafoe is another one that
and
was
Willem
added.
Dafoe. Yeah. And sometimes some British actors like Brian Cox and Michael Gambon, they show up. Yeah, so there's definitely
Cox
a
is in the
revolving
first
cast.
one, and he's wonderful in the first one.
Yeah, and he's also a voice in one of the animated movies.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so he shows up in a few other, or at least a couple of them.
When I see him do interviews, there's a kind of an arrogance to him that I would think would be, he might not be easy to work with.
Yeah.
But there it is. I might just be reading too much into it.
Well, he's definitely, I think, like Renee said, he's very deliberate in what he does. So that I can imagine that
I'm
there's
talking
probably
about
a lot
Cox.
of takes. Oh, Cox. Oh, I thought you meant Anderson.
Yeah, Brian Cox. No.
Brian Cox. Yeah.
I've never actually seen an interview with Wes Anderson.
Yeah, I don't think he does a lot, but
I imagine he would be like Tim Burton.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all right. So you want to get into the? Let's get into the listing then.
Okay,
Um, you want to go first?
it's up to you. Sure, sure.
All right, all right. So go first.
Okay. My favorite of all of his films is The Royal Tenenbaums,
Okay.
and a wonderful cat. Again, a lot of people only did this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Stiller. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if he was been in any of the others.
I don't think so.
Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is this movie. It's his movie. I mean, he
Yeah.
is so wonderfully nasty and unlikable in this film. And when the little Indian guy sticks him, shivs him again.
Yo, son of a bitch. Yeah.
So, yeah, just a wonderful character piece, and just very very dark humor, and oh, uh, she's in the Marvel universe. Pepper,
Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow. This was the only one I think she did.
Yeah. I think
Um,
so.
and again, her character is, which is delightful, for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And that's basically Wes Anderson. You're laughing at all these characters for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
I almost feel guilty about it.
Yeah. And like we were talking about, both the Wilsons are in there,
Yeah.
playing different characters.
hmm
Yeah, it's a huge cast. Uh, really good movie. Yeah, but it
And it's
only
about
made,
family and
and it's
how
about family.
dysfunctional
Yeah,
families can
yeah,
be, even
yeah.
at that level.
Well, from what I've read, it's kind of almost semi-autobiographical.
Oh,
It's inspired by his own life. His mother, Anderson's mother, was an archaeologist, just like Angelica Houston's character in the movie.
hmm
And his parents did have a kind of a nasty divorce, and that kind of crops up in a lot of his movies. The idea of divorced parents and fractured family relations, and the almost impossibility of making these connections
hmm
with family. But also, there's some that have kind of a hopeful view of of relationships, and we'll talk about that as we get into the movies.
Now,
Yeah,
his first big one, Rushmore, has a kind of a small town feel to it,
yeah.
but this one has a kind of a New York kind of big town feeling
Oh,
to it.
definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes.
Um, and then we go to Grand Budapest, and that's, again, it's like Renee says, that's a whole different universe out there.
Well, that's, I think, like I said, you can see the progression of his style, but also of his themes, and a lot of his later movies. He literally creates his own worlds,
Yeah,
places and things, that don't exist, that
yeah.
are obviously very based in reality. But I mean, it doesn't go total fantasy, but it's his own
I love
universe,
dogs.
basically. Yeah, I love dogs. Yeah, yeah. Uh, the islands of Moonrise Kingdom, and places like that. So yeah, early on, yeah, he was using more realistic places like New York and so on, but then
Mm.
kind of decided, you know what, I'm just going to create my own little worlds. So, and speaking of the Grand
He
Budapest
probably
Hotel,
wanted to create his own little worlds in the beginning, but Hollywood, in the film business, probably just
yeah,
wanted to do it.
yeah, oh
So he had
yeah,
to work his way up to that.
yeah, when you could have a little more clout. Uh, yeah, because you can tell his early movies were very much still Hollywood style movies. He hadn't
They're
quite gotten that
they're more
that
grounded than the
Anderson's.
later
They're
ones.
more
Yes.
grounded. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially Rushmore and even Royal Tenenbaums.
hmm
Um, so my number one is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's my number two.
cool. And this one, you definitely get the Wes Anderson feel, the Wes Anderson style. I mean, look at that hotel. I mean, the symmetry, the colors, the nesting stories, and just again, a wonderful performance from Ray Fiennes,
Hmm.
who I don't think is given enough credit for being the really really great actor that he is. And you
Oh
get
no,
Ian.
no, I totally agree with you. I think he's a
Yeah,
wonderful actor. And
yeah,
again,
yeah,
anything
and
he plays, he's
yeah,
there. He's
yeah,
100% there. Yeah.
yeah, and even in movies that I think are probably really beneath his talent, like the Clash of the Titans remakes and stuff like that, or
Oh, I forgot about that one.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's not hard to do,
But Red
and
Dragon, that was.
yeah,
Why did you do that one? Uh,
yeah.
uh,
Manhunter was good enough.
yeah,
Uh, so now, of course, he played
with Brian
Voldemort in
Cox as
the
Lecter.
yeah, and of course he played Brian Cox. He played Voldemort in the Harry Potter movies, so that's
Correct.
probably his biggest claim to fame.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the whole cast, and again, we
And
have
him and
the
James Bond.
yeah, yeah. Um, but again, you get the Anderson regulars: Bill Murray, Owen Wilson, Jason Schwartzman, um, and Edward Norton shows up. Willem Dafoe shows up. And you mentioned Tilda Swinton as
Yes.
the Duchess or whatever she was, the Madame,
Oh,
in the
Adrian
old
Brody,
age
another
makeup.
one that showed up in that one,
Adrian Brody,
and he's
yes,
been
yes,
he's been in most of them
he's been
after.
yeah, he's been in a couple of his films. Well, another one we're going to talk about later. So yeah, it's just a wonderful story. Uh,
Yeah.
and again, there's just a richness to Anderson's movies that you just never know what's going to happen. There's an unpredictability, and I think that's one of the things that I really like about his movies, even some that I don't particularly care for, but
Mm.
there is you they're not conventional Hollywood movies. You're not going to predict what's going to happen next. It's just impossible because the stories can go
I never thought
anywhere.
about that, but yeah, you're right. They are unpredictable.
They are totally unpredictable. And I think that's one of the things that some people like about the movies, some people hate about the movies. Because people who like, okay, I want to know, I want to know, but he doesn't. So anyway, but that's my number one is the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay, that was my number two.
Okay.
Again, you mentioned Ray Fiennes is wonderful in that, as is again Tilda Swinton. Every time I look at her in that, it just has me.
No,
It just tickles
I
me.
know.
It is
Yeah.
so not her, and yet she's so wonderful.
Right,
So,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
the whole reason for the movie is basically their tryst. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what it all hinges on.
Yeah.
And um, and oh, I forgot to mention F. Murray Abrams
F. Murray
plays
Abrams. Yes.
kind of the narrator or the person who tells the story to. Yeah.
What's another device that Anderson has used frequently in a lot of his, I think since then, using narrators and using,
Right.
voiceovers to tell the story. In fact, sometimes as the story's happening, you know,
Right.
uh, as kind of a not even a framing device, but just as a narrative device to sort of get you from and chapters. It's like you're reading a book, or it's almost like
Or
you're
watching a
somebody's
stage play.
or watching a stage play. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
Later on, he started using that kind of metaphor.
yeah, exactly. So, all right. So that's your number two. My number two is the Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Okay.
which is actually an animated movie done in
Right.
the old sort of stop motion, kind of like the Ray Harryhausen movies, although it's not monsters, obviously, and no humans are in it. well, no, like real human character. I mean, there's
Actually, yes, the three
human
antagonists are
yeah,
are men.
they're human characters, but not like
Right.
flesh and blood human beings, if you know what I
Oh
mean.
no, yeah, they're animated as
Yeah,
well. So
they're all
it's kind of
animated
like Wallace
characters.
and Gromit,
Wallace and Gromit, yeah, exactly. That's
except not that far.
yeah,
They're a little more realistic than that.
yeah. It's
It's like Mr. Toad meets Wallace and Gromit.
yeah. There you go. Very good. Yeah, yeah. Or some of the Wreck-It Bass movies that we've talked about on Big Monster. Um, and
Um,
yeah, I think this is the only one that George
yeah,
Clooney
it's
has
funny you
done.
say that because that is exactly where he went to for inspiration for Isle
Yeah,
of Dogs.
yeah, yeah,
Was the Rankin and Bass animated films, which
yeah,
were done by a Japanese team.
yeah, yeah. Um, and also Nightmare Before Christmas is another, I think, that similar style of animated puppets and things. So, but anyway, all that
Right.
aside,
What they do is they create a puppet, and then there are several different heads that they have for the puppet that show the
right,
different mouth
replacement,
movements and eye
right, right,
movements and stuff like that. They have hundreds of heads for one puppet,
yeah,
and yeah, it's again, it goes all the way back to Rankin Bass back in the early '60s.
yeah. And it's based on a Roald Dahl a book, same guy who
Mhm.
wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
Right.
James the Giant Peach, which also was done in that same style.
Correct.
When they made a movie about that one. Um, and it's a funny, it's wonderful movie. I This one was almost my number one for a while, but and again, he's got his usual gang of players. There's Bill Murray's in it, James Schwartzman's in it. Owen Wilson does a voice. William Dafoe does a voice.
Willem Dafoe plays the rat.
Yeah, yeah.
That is a off the chain character right there.
Yes, yes. The security guard. Yeah, who comes to a bad end, although he kind of sort of redeems himself at the end. But you've got Meryl Streep doing a voice.
Right.
Of course, George Clooney as Mr. Fox.
George
And
Clooney's voice is so distinct it really does lend itself to animation, and I'm
yeah,
surprised he hasn't done more of it.
yeah, yeah, he should absolutely. Um, and we talked about Michael Gambon. He's the lead villain in the story.
Right.
He's one of the three brothers, or the three men who own these different factories that the Fox winds up raiding, and you know
The
they all
cider
turn it
factory.
the cider factory. Yeah.
Um, for
So
those of you who don't know who Michael Gambon is, he's a British actor who took over as Dumbledore in the Harry Potter films when Richard
right,
Harris
right,
passed on. Richard
yeah,
Harris did the first two, I think, and
yeah.
then
He did the
Michael
first
Gambon
two.
took over
Took
Dumbledore
over.
for the final 5 or 6.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or actually,
Didn't he pass
not
away
the last
recently?
one. The last one he's already gone. He's passed away,
Yeah,
but you got it. You get it.
yeah.
He's also in a wonderful movie where he plays like the lead gangster in called Layer Cake.
Oh,
I always
yeah.
want to call it 4-layer cake, but it's Layer Cake.
Layer
and
Cake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a James Bond,
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig film just before he got James Bond.
Yeah. In
And
fact, that's
wow.
what got him the Bond gig was Layer Cake, or
Such a good movie.
or so.
So
Yeah.
bad.
Danny Boyle, I think, directed that one, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, we're talking about Wes Anderson.
Yes. We'll do Danny Boyle another night.
Yeah, we'll do Boyle's in another story. But,
All right.
Anyway, so and again, the themes of family show up here, and the fracturing of family, the coming together of the family. Jason Schwartzman plays the son of Mr. Fox and Mrs. Fox, who wants to be an athlete, he thinks he's an athlete, but he's kind of small, and all this. And then he has kind of a rivalry going with his cousin, uh, who is good at everything apparently, and who Mr. Fox sort of takes under his wing, uh, and so there's a bit of rivalry there. Though eventually, of course, they come together and become friends. But anyway, good movie. Don't be put off by the fact that it's animated. It's a delightful movie and highly recommended. Okay, so number 3. Yes, go
This
ahead.
was actually farther down my list, but I watched it again yesterday,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, "Wow, this is actually better than I remembered it to be."
Uh-huh.
As weird and uh, um, I don't want to say depressing. That's too strong of a word, but it's not the happiest of endings as far as it just kind of is there. The
Yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
It's Rushmore,
Oh, okay.
which was his
Okay.
first big one,
Yeah.
and it definitely sets up again his directorial style and his storytelling. And Schwartzman is just out there, as this the lead character.
Yeah.
He's an overachiever, underachiever. And Brian Cox's character is kind of like the Dean Rooney in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, except not as
Yeah.
crazed. But you could just tell he hates
Yeah.
Jason Schwartzman's character.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you've got Bill Murray, and a wonderful ensemble cast. And
Yeah.
it's just there's like no point to the story. It's just kind of there. It's a character piece, and it's just kind of there, and it's amusing. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rushmore's number 3 on my list.
Cool.
Number 4 is Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay. And you said something there just now about the movie having no point. And really, you could almost say that about all his movies. There's really not a point. There's not an actual like plot. It's just a lot of different character moments. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And we got to mention Olivia Williams, who plays Mrs. The teacher that Schwartzman and Murray wind up sort of fighting over.
Yes.
She was delightful. She was wonderful. I don't know if I've seen her in anything else. And she wasn't in any of the other Anderson movies. Sort of, again, one and done.
I kept saying, is that her? When I was watching later films, I was like, is that her?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, especially in Asteroid City, there was a character in Asteroid City that I was like, is that her? I didn't have her name in front of me at the time, so I didn't check it, but she might be in some of the other movies as a smaller character.
Yeah.
Just a possibility.
Possibly. Yeah. Okay, so that's your number 3. My number 3 is actually Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay, that's my number 5.
Oh, okay. This one, I really enjoyed this movie. And for a while,
think this one was going to make my list.
Yeah.
Again, it's number 5 on the list. I didn't think it was going to make my list. I thought it was going to be an honorable mention. But I had to give it. I had to put it on the list for this. This is one of Ed Norton's best performances, I think, and Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is in it.
Yes.
And I just his character is so. When you see some of these actors that are in these films, you expect these are people that have done action films, and these characters are so understated and so what's the word I'm looking for? Nuanced, maybe. I should say.
Yeah,
they're so nuanced, and again, they're so held back. I mean, it's like there's a saying in theater: less is more. And a lot of these characters, again, it's less than you expect, and yet, you know,
Is that your ring light giving you trouble again? Uh-oh. Oh, somebody froze.
I'll say though, with the lighting, that was a beautiful Wes Anderson type portrait with the lighting
Yeah.
when he was stationary like that. It was kind of a
can you see
gorgeous
me?
moment.
Oh, all right, you're back. There you are.
Am I back?
You're back.
So mood lighting.
Mood lighting. Yeah. But
I
anyway,
said I was
yeah.
going to have it fixed before this week, and I didn't.
No.
So yeah, there's a connection here and a power strip that's not working properly.
Oh
And
no.
the thing keeps coming loose.
Yeah.
And when I plugged my phone in to keep it charged.
Yeah. Power strips, depending that, yeah, they'll go out very. Yeah, you need to replace them ever so often.
Yeah, I might do that. I might just get another power strip. That's
Yeah.
easy enough to replace.
Oh yeah. So, Moonrise Kingdom. It's a love story, basically, between these two little teenage kids.
They're a little young,
but
yeah.
And again, typical Anderson. They're quirky characters. They're not your regular kids, and they decide to run off together into the woods, and they leave notes with their parents. Although one's an orphan, he leaves a note for his foster family, who eventually just say, yeah, you don't have to come back here. We're done with you. So. But yeah, you're talking about Bruce Willis and Ed Norton, and I think you could say that about, and even Bill Murray, who usually is just off the chain, but Anderson has a way. There's certain directors
of reining in the Murray madness. Yes.
Yeah. There's certain directors and certain actors that when they work together, it's like the best stuff they've ever done. And I think Bruce Willis is when he's in the hands of a really good director, you can see that he is actually a really good actor. He gives a really, like you said, a very engaging, very nuanced performance, and he definitely does that in this movie. Norton, again, great actor. The two kids, they actually, I think that was, I don't think they acted after that. They may have acted in a few things more, but they went on to do other things.
I do know that on their IMDb pages, they have older pictures. So chances are they have done other stuff, like other TV and movie stuff after. I didn't, well, I can check that right now. But I did notice that they looked older in the pictures on IMDb.
Yeah. And again, Tilda Swinton is in this movie as the child protective services type person.
Right, child services.
Oh my gosh, she comes swooping in that cape like Batman. And Frances McDormand. We gotta mention Frances McDormand.
Frances McDormand is in several.
Who's usually in in the Coen Brothers movies, but she's in this one. And again, just great performances all around. And now this one I think probably has a little bit more of a point than a little bit more of a plot than most Anderson's movies. As the two kids run off and then they're discovered and what happens afterwards. And there's a great little cameo from Harvey Keitel in this movie.
Keitel does that in Wes Anderson's films. He's only in it for like a few minutes. Usually it's a cameo, and they're usually fun cameos. Yeah, the girl, Kara Hayward has done a lot actually since
Oh, okay.
Moonlight Kingdom,
Mhm.
including Isle of Dogs. She plays Peppermint.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So let me see if the boy has done anything since then.
All right.
The nerdy boy,
The
Jared Gilman.
nerdy boy. Yeah.
Jared Gilman. First off, change your name from Jared to something else. Sorry. Yeah, both of them. Moonrise Kingdom was their first film, 2012.
Right.
And yeah, they've both gone on to do other stuff.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
They both have had pretty good careers since 2012.
Awesome.
Better than a lot of actors, so you can't complain.
No. No.
So there you
Well,
go.
good. Good for them. Good for them. Yeah, but I thought they were wonderful in the movie.
Yeah,
You know,
they were
usually
great.
kid actors are kind of, but Anderson does a good job with kid actors as well.
Unless it's Drew Barrymore. Sorry, my
Well,
terrible Drew Barrymore impersonation.
no,
You're
actually, that was
down
pretty
to a
good.
billion. You're not 1,000,000,001 anymore. We're taking away your Drew Barrymore. It's only 1,000,000,000, Rory.
She's going to take away my Drew Barrymore.
It sounds like Dr. Evil.
Dr.
It's just
Evil,
Dr.
you're
Evil.
right.
It's the same
I was
thing.
doing Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
That's right. Which is basically Lorne Michaels.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who is basically Drew Barrymore, apparently. We've unlocked the trifecta.
I was trying to do the lisp. She has a little lisp that she does. And
Okay,
again, female
yes,
impersonators
she
that
does.
do her really have
Okay.
Yeah,
they
they
get
go
a
for
handle
the
on that.
get the lisp. Yeah.
That's really funny. That's really funny. All right.
All right.
Okay, so your number
was-
5 is the only one we haven't talked about yet. Because I
Wait,
said
well-
Moonrise Kingdom was my number 5 and Fantastic Mr. Fox was my number 4.
Okay. No, actually, my number 4 we haven't talked about.
Oh, I thought that was just it, Moonrise Kingdom.
No, that was my number 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
No, my number 4 is actually Isle of Dogs, the other
Okay.
animated movie that we talked about.
That makes so much sense because you're a comic book artist.
I'm a comic book artist.
So obviously those two would be on your top 5
and
list.
Yeah.
That's on my
Now-
honorable mention list.
Yeah. Now, this was in my honorable mentions list for a while, but I watched it again and I thought, no, I got to move it up. I know Fantastic Mr. Fox are already in there, but I thought, do I dare have both the animated movies? And I said, it's my
Rory's
list.
gonna come after me if
Why
I do
not?
both.
And this is again, well, plus I'm a dog lover, and just the whole plot of this this Japanese man who has the he's gonna get something, who for centuries have they've hated dogs, the leader of this clan, and winds up finding some excuse or
I
ginning
just
up.
want to show my shorts.
All right.
Sorry. No, I had to
Made
turn
it.
on the other light so I'm not in darkness with light underneath.
Oh,
And
okay.
turn on the fans. I forgot to turn on the fans. It's very hot here in Florida,
Yeah.
even when it's raining.
Okay,
Okay, so you were explaining why Isle of Dogs.
well, Isle of Dogs, yeah. Just the whole premise of them shipping off all the dogs to this trash island. It's literally the name of it. And over some made up disease, that was actually this whole conspiracy.
Yeah, well, again, the whole thing is an allegory for if you put the wrong people in power, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
They're going to run their agenda and bad things can happen. And in this case, it's the guys. It's not even the guy who you think it is. It turns, and again, spoiler alert, it turns out to be another guy that supposedly, quote, works for him, but he doesn't. He's actually running the show.
Yeah.
And he's the one that hates dogs so much, and he creates this dog flu.
Mhm.
And they end up sending them to this trash island, these dogs.
Yeah.
And craziness ensues.
Yeah. And you were talking about Bryan Cranston. He
Yes.
is the voice of one of the lead characters, one of the dogs,
Mhm.
Chief, and there's a Scarlett Johansson does a voice,
Right.
and of course all the regulars. You know, Bill Murray does a voice, and so on.
Johansson. I can't remember if Asteroid City came before this or after.
After,
Yeah, so this is probably where she came in, is my
yeah.
guess. And yeah,
This
she was
one,
in Asteroid City after, and I imagine she'll be in more Wes Anderson stuff later.
yeah, because this was from 2018, so
No.
just a few years ago. But yeah, Bill Murray, Edward Norton, Bryan Cranston, Tilda Swinton, Jeff Goldblum does a voice. So and Bob Balaban.
Can you
Yeah,
recognize this
yeah,
dog's
yeah,
voice?
yeah, yeah. And oh,
He's
Bob
the alien in
Balaban.
Asteroid City too.
Yeah, well, not surprised.
I don't even think he
I gotta
talks
admit,
in that.
I haven't seen. I gotta admit, I haven't seen Asteroid City. That's the only
Oh
one
my god, it's
I
his
missed.
weirdest film yet.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
It's
So
really, really out there. That's why it's on
yeah.
my honorable mention list. There's just
Okay.
so freaking crazy out there. Even for Wes Anderson. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, I want to mention Bob Balaban, who wonderful character
Yeah.
actor, been in a lot of things. He was
Yes.
he was the narrator in Moonrise Kingdom. You know, he was basically telling us about the characters and the story,
Well,
and
he's
he plays a
in a lot.
character.
Yeah, he's in a lot of Wes Anderson's films.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, but yeah,
And rightfully so. He's a wonderful actor, you know, in the same vein as most of the actors that are in these movies, and he deserves to be there. He's
yeah,
great at playing characters.
yeah. And you know, I'm surprised that Anderson doesn't do more animated films. I know it takes longer to do them,
Yeah.
especially when they're using that style. But
And he likes
it,
Roald Dahl,
and he
which
likes
lends
Roald
itself to
Dahl,
that.
which we'll talk about here in a minute. So yeah, I mean, it really, you know, the way he approaches movies and his style. I mean, animation seems to be something that I would think that he would gravitate towards. But he's only done the two. He's only done like Fantastic Mr. Fox and
Mhm.
this one. So
If the story needs it, then yeah, then he does it.
yeah, yeah,
So he's a storyteller. And
yeah,
if the story relies on it, needs it, then yeah, he'll do it.
yeah,
But he enjoys working with these actors, you know, live,
yeah, yeah,
setting up his stories, his little pop-up books. Asteroid City really, really is like a pop-up book
Hmm.
story. It really is. I mean, even more
Yeah.
than his other stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I need to
So
watch
that's
it.
your number 4.
That's my number 4. You said your number 5 was
Moonrise Kingdom.
Fantastic. Oh, Moonrise Kingdom. Okay.
Fantastic Mr. Fox was my number 4. We've talked
Okay.
about it. Moonrise
Okay.
Kingdom, we've talked about it. So we're done with my list. Your
All
list
right.
still has number 5.
My number 5 is actually, and I don't know if this is cheating, and quite frankly, I don't care. But my number 5 is The Wonderful World of Henry Sugar and 3 Other Stories.
Oh no, that's
There's-
on my honorable mention list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All these they're all Roald Dahl stories.
Mhm.
And again, we got Ray Fiennes, who plays
Yeah.
Roald Dahl, who's telling the stories, and he plays characters in the stories.
Right.
And
The rat catcher being the best.
the
one.
rat catcher, I love that one. Yeah.
It's so freaking off the chain crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
That
And
one shot it to the top of my honorable mention list.
yeah. So
just seeing Ray Fiennes play the rat catcher.
yeah. And not Abraham. Ben Kingsley plays.
Yes.
You know, he's in all. I think he's in all the stories, all the different stories. But it's basically Ray Fiennes and also Richard Ayoade, who people, if you've ever watched the IT Crowd, wonderful comedy series from England, you recognize him immediately. He plays a character, a lot of different characters in some of the shorts as well. And Dave Patel and an actor named Rupert Friend. Anyway, they're all very different stories, but just and Benedict Cumberbatch plays
Right.
a number of characters in this. It's on Netflix if you want to see it. If you want to know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, the wonderful story of Henry Sugar and three more.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's
And
four
so
stories,
there's four stories altogether. The first one
and
is
strapped in with some narration.
yeah, yeah. But you were talking about how his stories kind of become more like stage plays. This one definitely.
Yeah,
You
this
see
is one.
stagehands coming in, see sets being changed. I mean, it really is like
Yeah.
it's a combination of things. It's like
The
you're
French
reading,
Dispatch also, very
yeah,
much so.
like you're hearing. It's like you're listening to an audiobook, but watching it being performed as well. And you're watching a play, and you're watching a movie. It's all the story. It's all story modes, like all into one, and yet that's what makes it so interesting, because again, it's all about the story. It's all about how different modes of telling a story, and yet combining them all into one thing, which nobody else does, I don't think. Or if they do, I don't think it's done as well as Anderson does it. But anyway, so those are my number five. Those are my five films
Okay.
that are on my top five list.
So my honorable mention list, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and Three More is my first one.
Okay.
Asteroid City is my second one. It's by far his most ambitious and incredible cast. I mean, there's like 50 people in this cast, including Tom Hanks has joined the ranks of Wes Anderson ensemble in it. Steve Carell is a character in it. And again, everybody else we've mentioned earlier is somewhere in there. And it takes place in a fictional place that they've named Asteroid City. There's nuclear. It's got a 1950s kind of feel to it. They're nuclear testing near the city, and it's just out there weird. It's just really, really out there weird. Jeffrey Wright also joins the cast as a general, who forces everybody to stay there because there was an incident with an alien. And it's really weird. Okay, and it gets weirder and weirder as it goes on. So if you're looking for weird, yeah, Asteroid City is it. That's where you should go.
Okay.
And again, everything is. I mean, you think they're setting you up for something, and then oh no, that's not it. It's something else. That happens so many times in the film. Scarlett Johansson is in it. Schwartzman is in it. Yeah, it's just so weird and crazy. I couldn't put it on my top 5 list because it's a little disjointed, and it's just really even too weird for me in some cases. It's like, okay, we're giving you carte blanche here. Oh, really? So think of Wes Anderson going too far. And there you are. You got Asteroid City.
And then he goes beyond that.
You gotta pull that back a little bit. Come on now. You're scaring the straights. Bill Murray said in Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
And Isle of Dogs made my honorable mention list. Again, I just couldn't put 2 animated films on my top 5 list together.
Yeah.
It works for you though, because you're a comic book artist. But for me,
yeah, it works for me. Yeah. So.
I'm more of a theater person. So, and ironically, a lot of these that become like plays within the movie, which I can't stand that. It's okay. Either give me a movie or that you're filming, but don't like go back and forth. Don't do that. That drives me nuts. And the French Dispatch does that. Now, one film we have not mentioned, didn't make my honorable mention list, but I feel it does deserve a mention, is, I always forget the name, but it's the Life Aquatic.
The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Yeah.
Steve Zissou, that's right. And the Life Aquatic. This Wes Anderson film just didn't grab me. I don't know why. It just seemed dull, and it didn't work for me. Because I was expecting Royal Tenenbaums or Grand Budapest Hotel again, and I didn't get that. It didn't have that same charm, and I'm not sure. I should probably go back and look at it again.
Yeah. Well, I watched it. I watched it again, and I think
we talked before the show about this one, about how it probably wasn't going to make our lists.
Yeah.
we both were like, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I did put it on my honorable mention list, but kind of toward the back.
Yeah. On the bottom of the list.
It drags. I watched it again, and I really wanted to like it. It starts off well. I like some of the setups. I like Owen Wilson coming in, and maybe he's his son, maybe he isn't. Relationship with Angelica Houston's in it. All the usual cast.
Oh, I forgot Angelica Houston was in it.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum, and so on. But as it went on, it just like, you talk about not having a point. After a while, it's like, where's this going, and why is it taking so long to get there?
Well, you yourself said there's usually no point to the films.
Yeah, but at least.
But in this case, you're so aware of it.
Yeah,
there's nothing going on here, and there's no point. There's no real point to it.
Yeah,
that it kind of pisses you off.
I like the beginning of it. I like the ending of it. I like when they actually find this mystical shark they were looking for. I thought that was nice.
Story of
but
my life.
But the thing in the middle was like, oh, get on with it. And then the whole thing with the pirates, I thought that was unnecessary. And then killing off one of the main characters. It just, it missed the mark somehow.
Living proof that you can't win them all.
You can't win them all. Yeah.
You can try and try, but you can't win them all.
Can't try it. Yeah. I just felt like it was self-indulgent. It was too self-indulgent.
That's kind of the way Asteroid City is. It's very indulgent.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like, wow, this is Wes Anderson off the chain.
Yeah. So I was disappointed.
Hopefully, what I said here will get people to watch it, and then they can make their own judgment.
Yeah. No,
it's entertaining, but it goes in different directions you don't expect it to, and it's just weird.
Yeah.
And in some cases, that's
fun. I think that's I think that I think that's what was missing from Life Aquatic. It wasn't really that entertaining. All these other movies, at least there's something there that you can, whether it's the family relationships or it's just the characters. After a while, and Bill Murray's character is not really that likable, And
G. Roy, I want to hear from you.
Yeah. So anyway, okay. So on my
brother.
Yeah. So on my honorable mentions list is the Royal Tenenbaums, which was on my top 5 for a while, but it kind of got bumped for another movie. But it's a good movie nonetheless. I did enjoy it. I loved Gene Hackman's performance.
It got bumped for Isle of Dogs.
It did. Yes, it did.
Puppies.
Yeah. I
like
really
the man who eat dogs.
It was a hard decision, but I thought, no, I got to go with my heart. I got to go with my gut. But
I actually watched it at like 2:00 last night. I had to skim through it because it was it was 2 movies that I didn't get until late last night. I didn't go to bed until like 3:30, close to 4:00.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because of that.
Yeah.
And, I did want to see them though before we did this show. I didn't
Yeah,
want to have to go, oh, I didn't see that one,
yeah.
you know. And
I
unfortunately, yeah, they it took a long time for me to get them.
yeah,
And finally they came through late last night.
yeah. But
Early this morning.
I love Gene Hackman's performance.
Yes.
Again, not a particularly likable character,
No.
but still just fun watching him,
Terrible.
just going through all these,
Oh
all these
man.
various
Please
things.
text me. Send me a message, man. Miss you.
Yeah, what's up with that? And again, Angelica Houston,
And her
Owen
phone number.
Wilson's character. I mean, all the
Yeah.
characters. And I'm surprised that Stiller hasn't done more movies. Who knows? Maybe he just
Yeah, you would think that yeah, he would lend himself to these movies, but I
yeah.
guess
I
maybe
don't
they
know.
didn't get along when they were
Maybe they didn't click or
something that he
something.
set him off. I don't
Yeah.
know. Because this is the
So
only one he's done.
yeah. But again, it just continues the theme of
Stiller,
family,
when he's in something,
fractured
Stiller wants
family.
to be in control. He's like Tom Cruise. He wants to be in control.
Yep, yep, absolutely.
He's a
So
director too.
yeah. One we didn't talk, but we haven't talked about, it's on my honorable mentions list, which I think is actually a good movie, is the Darjeeling Express.
Haven't seen it.
Uh, it's so Owen Wilson, Adrian Brody, and Jason Schwartzman. They play brothers who are on this the the title of the movie is the name of the train that they're on.
Yeah.
They're in India. They're uh, they're going to visit their mother. Although the other two, Owen Wilson has sort of set all this up, and he said, "Well, we want to go on this spiritual journey and soak up the culture and all this stuff." But he has an agenda. He wants to go see their mother, who is a nun living in
Jeez.
this place in India.
Played by Tilda
Uh,
Swinton.
no, actually, Angelica Houston again. Angelica Houston. Uh, and their father has died, which again is another recurring theme: death of a parent. And so it's about them going on this journey. Oh, Troy's given you his number.
Oh. Yeah. Screenshot that. Take that off.
I don't know that that's his phone number. I think it's something else. I don't think it's his
Oh,
phone number.
oh, okay.
Okay. His measurements.
He should, if it's his number, he should text it to you rather than showing it for the
Right,
world to
showing it on
see.
a show that's can be seen by anybody.
Exactly. Yeah, a little bit more discretion there, Troy.
I probably have that number, and I probably should have texted him myself from that number. Anyway,
Yeah. But anyway, it's an interesting movie. And again, it's another of his recurring themes of the fractured family. These guys, these grown men, haven't seen each other for like a year or so since their father died, and they're finally coming together, and you kind of explore each of what they're going through. Schwartzman has like a little brief affair with this Indian woman who works on the train. Brody has this wife that is pregnant, and he's not sure about being a father. And Wilson is this very controlling character who's had this accident, which is why he's all bandaged up. I know you saw it on the poster there. But then you find out, well, he tells one story, and then you find out later on what the real story is of why he's all bandaged up.
okay.
And it's a character study
Okay.
of these men kind of having to grow up and take responsibility for their lives.
Hmm.
But
I will
it's
definitely
a
have
good
to
little
look it up.
story. Yeah. So there's that one. Rushmore's on my list, and
Yeah.
Life Aquatic. So So that's my honorable mentions.
And there we go. Again, Wes Anderson doesn't have a lot of movies. He doesn't make like 2 movies a year. You know, it's usually the other way around. It's like 3 or 4 years between movies.
Yeah, the other way it takes his time.
So who are we talking about next week?
Next week, man, I should plan this.
The working text.
You know, I had 2 weeks. You know, I had 2 weeks to plan this out, and did I? No, of course not, because that would be, that would be way too easy to do that. So let me see.
We should make Rory do all black and white depressing movies. I'm just kidding. I'm just making a joke, but that would be hilarious.
Let's do film noir.
Let's do all film noir, and Rory will be he'll love it.
I love film. I like film noir.
I do too, but I do too.
Yeah.
I was kidding.
No, we're not going to torture you. We love you.
All right. So on my list here, well, let's see. We'll let the crowd decide here. So on my list currently is Robert De Niro, Marlon Brando, Humphrey Bogart, Anthony Hopkins, Dustin Hoffman, Christian Bale, Jack Nicholson, Kevin Bacon, and Sidney Poitier. Well, that's all the actors, and I also have actresses. But we did an actress. I want to do an actor. Do we want to do De Niro? Just do the first one on the list. We just go down the list.
We can do that one. We can do it. Yeah, I'm bet.
Do De Niro. Yeah,
we can do that.
Yeah. Actually, I think we've been promising to do De Niro for a while. So yeah, let's do Robert. Let's do De Niro.
There's a lot of films to go through.
A lot of films to go through. Yeah. So.
Oh boy, that's good. I love it. That's gonna be fantastic.
So check out the top 5. It's gotta be hot. It's gotta be hot. You're looking at me. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. That's terrible.
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
I don't know why.
I'm making my 5 list right now.
Why? Yeah, I can see it. I don't know. Okay.
You're a man. You would have done it by now. Sorry.
There you go. What kind of a man are you? What kind of a man? Okay. All right. So there you go.
That was more like Brando.
I know.
What kind of man are you?
Yeah.
He said a little Brando there.
A little bit of Brando. Yeah,
I'm watching you. Just remember, I'm watching you.
I'm going to leave the voices to you from now on.
Huh?
I'm leaving the voices up to you from now on. I don't know why I even attempted.
You were doing good for a while there until that one line that just sounded like Brando.
Then it went into Brando. Yeah. So yeah, I'm better with accents. All right.
I bet.
Yeah. So you gotta get that New York thing going. You know what I mean. So there I was standing in the corner with the guys. We just kind of hanging out there. Then the cops show up for no reason. They start harassing us. They start hassling us, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? We're just standing here talking. What's up with that?
That was more like a Pacino kind of thing.
That was more of Pacino, Hoffman.
There's something definitely wrong here.
Yeah. You're out of order. You're out of order. The whole damn thing's out of order. Anyway.
Doesn't frown. He smiles upside down. That's right. You got it right.
Smiles upside down.
You're beautiful.
All right.
It's true.
All right, Miss Renee, any final parting
No, I was enjoying that New York accent. I just what I love about Manny is you just take off another layer and there's another talent, there's another talent, there's another talent. It's just the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, so you don't hear that kind of accent where he's from much. New York City.
Oh yeah, well that
New York City. There you go.
Yeah. Them big city slickers coming down here, trying to take our wow.
Trying to take our
Trying to take our jobs out here.
Oh, job. All right.
Yeah, what I love is I love how Manny's from Texas and then he puts on the Texas accent. I'm from New York and I have to put on the New York accent. I love that. I think that's like another brilliant comedic piece where
she has to put on the Yonkers.
I got to do the Yonkers like
Gotta
Troy
do the
Moore. I love
Yonkers
you too,
thing.
Troy.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, there you
amazing.
go.
Troy Moore is
Yeah,
everything. I love everything about you. You come up to
yeah,
Brooklyn, we'll hang out. We'll
yeah.
go
We'll go to
to,
Yonkers, have some coffee,
Boy,
hang
let's
out,
we'll
do this,
talk,
boys.
we'll
have a
call each other.
slice,
Troy's
pour,
from Atlanta, and he likes to do this, boys.
Oh, yeah, Troy does that voice beautiful. Oh gosh, I love Troy. Troy, we love
Yeah.
you, Troy. Oh my gosh, he's amazing. He's
Yeah. So
amazing.
that's more deep south
True
kind of.
that.
That's that
That's more
slow
deep
kind
south.
of,
Yeah,
huckleberry,
yeah.
honeysuckle kind of voice there, going there.
Honeysuckle is definitely a Troy Moore word. I feel like Troy Moore, if he doesn't have a lyric that says honeysuckle, he should. Troy Moore, definitely.
Yeah.
It's slow like the wolf in the Droopy Dog cartoons. I used to love it. He'd come whistling in.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
a wolf, man.
Yeah. Droopy dog.
He's just too cool for school.
All right. Here we go. We did it. A great and
All right.
tomorrow, what's on the docket?
Tomorrow in the Big Monster Briefing Room, they're doing Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
Yeah, Sister
Yay.
Hyde.
A lot of
Sister
homoerotica going on
It's
in
like a
that.
rawhide,
And
yeah.
with Martina Beswick,
Grrr.
who's a Bond girl. She was the
Yeah.
first Bond girl to be in 2 Bond films. She was in From Russia with Love as one of the gypsies who was fighting. And then she came back in Thunderball. And she was, because she was Jamaican, partially. And she's in this movie with Ralph Bates playing Dr. Jekyll. And he becomes her. Oh, this is nice. It's just, wow. It's out there. So, and Thursday, the last show of season 5, Van Helsing.
So the last time we're gonna see Donald Sutherland pointing at the camera in that crazy, yeah. It's the last time. There you go.
Yeah. Is that the one that set you off so much? I thought it was the Van Helsing clip with the vampire.
Oh, there's too many. There's too many to count. It's like,
and the bear.
The bear, the dog heads. It's
hitting the kid
in
the rock.
Trouble.
Yeah, Chris Sarandon as the vampire.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's it. That's it too.
After this week, we're gonna have a new one. We're gonna have season 6.
Every single moment of that opening goes on for about a second longer than is comfortable.
Oh, just wait for the next one.
Wait for season 6.
How could it get any more intensely uncomfortable?
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
Season 6 is going to be a romp. It really is. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, we'll take us into the later end of the year, past October, and should be a lot of fun. And we're doing 30 episodes a season starting this next season. So I've got like 12 seasons planned. So, yeah. As long as people are watching, we're going to keep trying to crank it out and get it to them.
Keep going.
So,
all right.
Yep.
There we go, everybody. All right. Good night,
cool.
everybody. We will be back next week with Robert De Niro.
Thanks for watching this episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get future episodes.